Hi. Hi, Cecilia. Hi,
Hello,
everyone.
everyone.
Welcome, welcome. Are you hearing me okay, Cecilia? Just to double check sound. Perfect.
Yeah.
Fantastic. We have quite a few people popping in, so we'll just get started in a couple of minutes. We'll just give it maybe like 30 seconds. While we're kicking things off, to the people who have arrived, thank you so much for joining us today. Why don't we just share where we are joining from, share the country where you're coming from today in the chat. That would be fantastic and great to see where everybody's connecting from.
I can see some familiar names. That's great. Hello, everyone.
Wonderful. Wow, we have some people from all over the world, lots of Latin American people, someone from Spain, from the US, from the Ukraine. Lovely to see people joining from all over. All right, well, I think we can get started. So welcome, everyone. Welcome, Cecilia. Thank you all for taking the time out of your day to sit with us and have this conversation about authentic materials. We're really happy to have you. Just a quick introduction. My name is Rebecca Verbeen. At ELL, we are a Canadian education technology company based out of Toronto. We're trying to revolutionize language learning for individuals of all ages and backgrounds, spanning from 6 years old all the way through to that university or professional level. Our mission is to make language learning accessible, engaging, effective, and leveraging the power of technology to innovate teaching methodologies. We have a comprehensive suite of online products and learning programs. We provide personalized, immersive learning experiences to empower learners to master new languages effortlessly within their institutions. We also offer professional development webinars every single month. So we're really happy that you're joining us for our June webinar today. And I have the pleasure to introduce Cecilia Nobre as our speaker for today's webinar. Cecilia is a teacher trainer, and a materials writer with 20 years of experience. She's a CERT TESOL and DIP TESOL trainer and co-authored a book using video to support teacher reflection and development in ELT. She's currently a PhD student at the University of Warwick and eager to share her expertise on using authentic materials in language teaching. In our session today, we're talking about authentic materials and taking our teaching beyond the textbook to that next level. Cecilia is going to guide us through using authentic materials in language teaching. We're going to learn some practical strategies for finding and adapting real-world resources to engage and motivate learners, and techniques for how to use it effectively in the classroom. To put your knowledge into practice, you'll select and adapt authentic materials and create a lesson plan around it. Whether you are a post-Celta teacher or an experienced practitioner, this webinar is going to give you some tools and confidence to take your teaching to the next level with engaging and relevant content. So without further ado, and welcome again to those who have just joined us, I will pass it over to Cecilia.
Thank you. Thank you, Rebecca. Thank you, everyone. Hello. I just want to share my slides. So can I share my slides, Rebecca?
Absolutely. Yes, please do.
Let me see how. Okay, just give me a moment. Can't find my. Just a moment, everybody. It's open share tray, isn't it? To
Yeah,
share
you should have the share button top right, and then you can select the screen.
Yeah. So, can you see now?
Not yet. I don't think so.
Okay. Okay, I don't know what to do. How do I do it? I can't see how to select.
On the top menu, you should have an option that says share.
Share, yeah, share one, just that.
Just that. If you click that, it should open the option for you to choose the screen.
No, there's just the sorry, everybody.
No worries. We do have some people who are just joining us. If you are just joining us, please feel free to put the country you're joining us from into the chat. There we go, Cecilia. We're seeing your screen now.
Great. And the slides?
We are seeing a pink and blue background.
And now? Can you see it now?
I'm still seeing a pink and blue, sort of like mountainy waves.
I don't know what to do. Can you help?
What we could do, Cecilia, if you want to send me your presentation really quick, I could probably share it from my end.
Right. Okay. Yes. Just bear with me, everyone. No.
Sorry, everyone. Just moving through these technical issues. Welcome. I see lots of people from Portugal, Italy, Uzbekistan. Very cool. Thank you all for sharing where you are coming from today.
Give me a moment, everybody. Did you receive it by email?
I'm checking now. Perfect. Yes, I've got it. So I can share that. No problem. All right. Share screen. There we go. I think everyone should be seeing the screen.
Yes, you can go to the next one.
Perfect.
Okay, everybody, sorry for that. This is our agenda for today. I hope you're doing well. So we're going to talk about what authentic materials are, the benefits, the challenges as well, where to find and how to adapt authentic materials. AM stands for authentic materials, okay? But I will also talk about authentic tasks, because this is something that is usually overlooked, and we will discuss that, okay? And how to incorporate task-based learning, dogmatic teaching, and intercultural teaching with authentic materials, because I think these, let's say, three approaches fit very well with the use of authentic materials. So I hope you find this webinar useful. You can go to the next one, Rebecca. So yeah, so what are authentic materials? This is just a definition, okay? That some experts, some ELT experts share about authentic materials. So authentic materials are either written or produced resources that are not specifically designed for classroom use. Okay, so they are found in, for example, restaurants, menu, on the internet. So they are real world materials, okay, created in the target language. In our case, it will be English, but of course there are authentic materials in all languages: French, Arabic, Portuguese. Okay, so and we'll be talking about some authentic materials such as articles, songs, films, social media. And this is my favorite, I have to admit, it's my favorite type of authentic material, realia, and etc. Can you go to the next one, please, Rebecca? All right, Whitson, a long time ago, 1978, said that, discussed the idea of being genuine, okay? So it's a characteristic of the passage itself and is an absolute quality. So what is something, is genuine, being genuine, the same thing as being authentic? He didn't believe that they are the same thing. So he defined authenticity as a characteristic of the relationship between the material, the text, and the reader. And the response of the reader is is being genuine or not. So just to share this perspective with you. Can you go to the next one, Rebecca, please? Okay, so these are some of the benefits that I believe authentic materials afford. I don't know if you agree with me. Do you agree with me? So it provides, authentic materials provide language input and skills development. And skills development, I mean listening skills, speaking skills, reading, thinking skills, etc. Hello, everyone. Hello. Provide a thought. Sorry, not Noah there. There's a typo there. Sorry. Provide thought-provoking insights. And I'm going to show you some examples of that. Authentic materials have an easy familiarity. What do I mean by that? When you, for example, when you show students, for example, a meme or a picture or an article, they recognize them straight away. We don't need complex explanation as to what is being used. So there should be this, it's easy for students to relate to sometimes, yeah, if it's chosen properly. Exactly, Faye. I just said that. It's relatable, right? No, go back, please, Rebecca. No, yes. So it gives, it should also give a positive impression in your students' mind. So although we can use some controversial materials, and I think we should, ideally the material, the task that we are proposing should leave a positive impression, a positive feeling on our students. We don't want to make our students feel uneasy or uncomfortable. Because if they do feel uneasy or uncomfortable, they perhaps they will not respond well, or they will not learn. So it's important to choose the material very carefully. And in order to do that, we should know our students. We should know their interests, what their interests are, their needs, any background that you know. So we should take this into consideration, okay? They offer useful information to deal with language. We can go to the next one, Rebecca. More benefits, but not all benefits, okay? They also foster cultural immersion and understanding, which it can be somehow something negative, depending on how familiar that material, that text is for the student. So, for example, if the material gives a reference that student doesn't know, for example, a name of a restaurant or the name of a shop, perhaps this can create some kind of distance. So we need to balance that. It also promotes language variation and authenticity. So we will see different types of register in authentic materials: informal, more formal, focus on a certain group of speakers, a certain age of speakers, for example. So that promotes language variation, okay? Ideally, it should enhance their motivation and engagement, cultivate critical thinking skills, and accelerate proficiency development across language skills, because we can blend different language skills when using authentic materials. And I think this is one of the best ways to integrate different language skills. For example, a listening activity with speaking, or reading with speaking. Okay, so that in turn accelerate their language proficiency. So do you agree with me? I hope I've convinced you. You can go to the next one, Rebecca. Yes, and feel free to ask questions, okay, on the chat, and I'll try to answer as we go along, or maybe we can leave 5 minutes at the end to answer some questions. Okay, but what about the challenges? There are some challenges that teachers might overcome. So can you go to the next one, Rebecca? So these are some of the challenges that I've heard from teachers who are more reluctant to use authentic materials. So some of them mention, and I have to agree, that it contains some unfamiliar language, perhaps some jargons or some slang, or expressions just used in a certain particular area. So it can create this unfamiliarity with the language, okay? Well, number two is also, it can be a challenge: real world messiness and complexity, depending on the language, depending on the language structure that we are using. But I think number two is more of a benefit, to be honest, for me, than a challenge. But you might see that as a challenge. They may present some inconsistencies and errors in materials, some grammar. I wouldn't say error, but some different standards of language. So they may not present the standard English, for example, or they may contain intentional errors. For instance, for example, here I'm based in the UK, and there is a restaurant. I love this restaurant. There is a restaurant called You Want Beef. question mark. And well, originally that's an error, but there is a reason why the restaurant is called "You Want Beef," right? And I really love this example. So some teachers may find authentic materials to be time-consuming to work, and you have to adapt some of them, right? And this can take some time. They also vary in levels, so they are usually, well, they might be difficult for some students, especially if you work with beginners. It's usually a bit harder to find authentic materials, authentic videos for beginner students, right? I'm talking about A1, A1s, A2s. And that will lead to a lot of scaffolding. So the material itself may not provide the scaffolding that the teacher needs. So this would be on the teacher's side. So the teacher would have to provide lots of scaffolding. And as I've mentioned before, they might provide some cultural and contextual gaps that students do not understand because it's very regional, it's local, so that can be a bit challenging for students. Do you have any other challenges to? Can you think of any other challenges to present? I hope I covered all of them, but maybe you can think of others. Different accents, right? Different accents if we're talking about video. Gabriel, yeah? Speed delivery for video audio, that's right. Janet, yes, I agree. Connected speech, yeah. Copyright, yeah, copyright issues. Yeah, it's also an issue. Yes, I agree with you. They can be challenging. Sorry. You can go to the next one, Rebecca. This can be challenging issues. Okay, here's some ideas if you want to take a picture. This is what I tell my students. Where can you find authentic materials? And I'm providing some ideas on where to find. So as I told you, my favorite ones are social media posts. I love it. Social media posts, videos, Instagram stories, articles from Facebook, LinkedIn as well. Some people use TikTok. I don't like TikTok, but that's another great source of videos, short videos. Okay, but here are some others. Street signs. If you live in an English-speaking country, you can take pictures of the road signs, the streets, and use them with your students, or you can ask your students to take pictures. But if you don't live in an English-speaking country, no problem. There are some virtual museum tours. They are amazing. You can find interviews with celebrities on YouTube, WhatsApp messages. Now that WhatsApp have audio messages, I love that. So you can use real. There's nothing more real than that, right? WhatsApp audio messages. Utility bills for real life context. Water bill, electricity bill. What else? Council tax bill. But of course, there are other materials like magazines, film posters, news articles, comic strips. These are great for beginners, for example, because the lines are usually very short and very straightforward. So comic strips are great. So these are some ideas of authentic materials. Yeah, oh, I forgot to add podcasts. Yes, Juliana, of course. I love podcasts. Podcasts for more advanced students, right? B2, C1s, C2s. Yes, absolutely. Thank you. Next one, Rebecca, please. Okay, so these are some ideas for adapting authentic materials, okay? Very quick ideas that you can implement straight away. So the first thing is simplifying language. If you're using a text and from the BBC or from the Financial Times, for example, they might be a bit difficult for your students. So you can simplify the language and you can use ChatGPT for that. Copy, paste, and ask ChatGPT to rewrite or rephrase that text aimed at A2 students or B1 students, for example. Or you can do that yourself, okay? But you can also provide vocabulary support alongside the authentic material. So some kind of glossary or a pre-teaching vocab exercise if you think that the vocabulary is above your students' proficiency levels, okay? You can also create guiding questions to help students understand the material. You can change the length of the material. For example, you can work with, if you're working with a text, you can work with the first paragraph only, for instance, or you can summarize the text, or perhaps you want to use a video, you can use just the first, I don't know, 2 minutes of the video. So you can modify the length of the material, okay? You can incorporate visuals alongside your video, for example, or your text. So you can add some visuals, you can add some images, all right? Scaffold listening activities, and I'll be talking about that. You can also adapt tasks and activities. So not so much working with the material itself, but adapting the task, grading the task to really accommodate your students' needs. So that's another idea. You can provide cultural context if you notice that there is a cultural gap in the material. You can explain what the cultural context is about, and you can ask students to choose. You can ask them to choose the material that you want to use, and you can personalize the tasks as well. Ella asked, can we call authentic materials created by non-native English speakers if they are created for? Of course, I've done that many times, and I'm a non-native English speaker, and I've created tasks, not the materials themselves, but of course we can, absolutely, yeah, why not? There's no owner of a language. Nobody's the owner. The language is for everybody. So yeah, nobody can claim the ownership of a language. Thank you. Rebecca, next one, please. Thank you, Janet. Yes, I have created some materials there. Now let's talk about task, right? Because I think this is something that is usually overlooked when we talk about authentic materials. Okay, so let's say you've chosen a wonderful video, a wonderful text, very engaging, very creative. And now, what are you going to do with that piece of material? So it's important to create tasks that really fit the purpose. So let's talk about authentic tasks. Before we move on, can you give me an example of what you think I meant by authentic tasks. Can you write on the chat box? What's an authentic task? Useful for life? Yes. Yes, a task that has a communicative goal. Yes, Lorenzo. Yeah. Make a phone call. Yes. Yeah. Although I don't make phone calls anymore, very rarely, but it is an authentic task. Yeah, it's a real life task. Writing a report. Yes. There's an exchange of meaning. Yes, Lorenzo. Yes, Janet said something that you would normally do with the text. For example, find out cheap flights from a travel app. Yes, excellent, excellent. Thank you. Write a recipe. Right. Yes. Yes. Wonderful. Can you go to the next one, Rebecca? All right. So these are some of the principles that I believe are important when we create a task. Okay. So don't expect mechanical responses from students. Don't expect that right or wrong answer. So be open, embrace the unexpected, and really try to be more responsive to your students' answers, to your students' needs. And authentic tasks should also encourage critical thinking and personal opinions. Our students are they want to share their opinions. They love to talk about what they think and what others think of their opinions. So give them this opportunity of sharing what they think, and show genuine interest in what they are saying. And I would, yeah, and that the last one relates to the first. Avoid the rigid format with only one correct answer. Can you go to the next one, Rebecca? So, for instance, I think somebody mentioned that problem solving and simulation tasks are authentic tasks because they present real world scenarios and dilemmas. Students can analyze a situation, they can evaluate, they can assess their choices, and then make informed decisions, right? You can design a role play activity with authentic interactions. So ask them to be themselves instead of, oh, you're going to be Mary and you're going to be John. Why do we have to assign roles and characters to them? You can ask them to be themselves and how they would react to a certain situation. So this would be an excellent authentic task. Can you go to the next one, Rebecca? For instance, let's say we use this picture here. Why do you think I chose this picture? What kind of task could I devise with that picture? That picture I found on Google, by the way. Okay. Yes, Claudia? Yeah. Emergency call. What do you think happened to this girl, to this lady? Yeah, she forgot her keys. Yeah. That's right. Yeah. So you see, I'm asking you open questions. There are no right or wrong answers, right? She got locked outside the house. That was my intention. Yes, Anna. Yes. And you can ask your students to analyze the picture. Ask them, for instance, what they think happened, and then you can provide the situation. You can tell them what the context is. For instance, this woman was locked outside her house. She forgot her keys inside. She forgot to take the keys, and there's nobody home. So your students' task, they can get in pairs or groups. They have to come up with a solution. Okay, they have to give her advice. What should she do? in this situation, okay? So they will discuss, they will analyze, they will see the pros and cons of each idea, and then they would share with the class, for example, okay? And you can, yeah, you can try to, you can ask them to use certain language structures, or not, or just see what emerges from them, what kind of emergent language emerges from them, okay? So this would be a great task, in my opinion. Yes, so another type of task is the one that provides real life relevance to your students, okay? So try to design tasks reflecting authentic situations and contexts by connecting with the students' lives and interests, and focusing on relevant topics and themes. Can you go to the next one, Rebecca? Yeah. So this, so this is a real picture of me. Okay. As you can see, 2020. I didn't take this picture during COVID. Okay. This is a throwback Friday. So I did not, I did not travel during COVID, by the way. I showed this picture to my students yesterday, and they looked at the time, and I said, "Teacher, did you travel during COVID?" I said, "No, no, no." So, so you can ask your students, for example, you can show, this is something that I like to do in order to make them feel comfortable to share their own. So I don't mind sharing a picture with them and model what I want them to do. So I simply asked my students, they were learning to talk about the past using past simple, okay? So I wanted my students to be exposed to the language and also to produce language. So I asked them to guess where I was and what I was doing. If I had some friends with me, so I invited them to ask me questions about the picture. So they had to make questions using the past, the simple past. Okay. So this is just a lead-in for them to share their own pictures, because I feel that, at least from my experience, when we ask students, oh, share a picture with them, with your friends, and share something, they are usually they might shy away a little bit. So if you do the first example, they might feel, okay, if my teacher is doing, that's fine, I can do. So they might feel more motivated. Okay, the next one. Next one, please, Rebecca. Yeah. Okay, so authentic tasks should also be feasible and sustainable. They should have sustainable and feasible learning objectives, learning aims. Okay, so make sure that the task that you design, they target specific language skills or competencies, and they consider the appropriate challenge levels based on your students' language proficiency. Okay, so this goes back to adapting the material and adapting the language that you would like your students to produce or to be exposed to. Next one, Rebecca. Thank you. All right, now let's talk about a specific skills. Okay, so for example, listening skills. So these are some ideas for designing authentic listening tasks. For instance, you can ask students to imitate language patterns using recordings and videos. And pay attention that I'm saying patterns. I'm not saying accents, okay? I'm not saying, oh, you have to speak like this person here in the audio, or like this British man or this American woman. No, I'm talking about the patterns. So a language pattern, a language chunk. or maybe you can ask them to repeat that chunk using connected speech, and you might want to show them what happens. Some connected speech features like assimilation, like elision, shadowing, yes. Task listening, focus on specific details or comprehension questions. And you can also have your students engage in discussions or debates on authentic audio recordings. And you can also include podcasts here. But for podcasts, I would be very mindful about the length of the podcasts, because they are usually quite long. So you might want to time the specific minutes and seconds that you want your students to listen to. Next one, Rebecca. As I said, students listen to a podcast or a part of a podcast, and then they can recreate a role play based on that episode, for instance. Or you might want to ask your students to listen to a song they like, or you can provide the song yourself and then ask them to create a storyboard on the lyrics. Next one, Rebecca. Okay, so this is an authentic video I found. I came across on Facebook. And any idea of what this video is about? What is this video about? Claudia, he was caught red-handed. Doing what, Claudia? What do you think this video is about? Eating a box of chocolate? By whom? Who do you think caught him red-handed? Eating Nutella? His wife. Not really. That was his daughter. Okay, so this is called I forgot the name of the video, but Rebecca, there is a hyperlink with this video. Could you please click and open the video and just show us the first 20 seconds? Let me show you the video. Can you play the video for 20 seconds, please? We can't hear.
Let me just reshare with my audio.
Right, okay.
Let me know if you can hear this now.
Mm-hmm.
Was delivered to your mum today.
Yes, thank you.
And I've intercepted it, and it looked a little suspicious, so I've opened it. And inside, there are some lovely rocky roads, and I may have accidentally eaten one.
One.
Well, or two.
Dad.
Or three.
We will rock you. Oh God, he's coming. What are you doing now?
I'm off for a swim, Carol.
That's okay, Rebecca. Thank you. Thank you. So I think, for instance, this video is great for beginners because the language is very simple, the language structure, and the daughter and the wife, they keep asking, what are you doing now? What are you doing? So there's this repetition of what are you doing? And the dad is always getting into trouble. And I think it's great for visuals because you can see what he's doing, and he tells us what he's doing. And it's just a very light-hearted video that we can use with our students. Perhaps ask them if they find the video funny, and why did they find it funny or not funny, if they have watched the video before, maybe ask about the father. Do you have a father like him? Is your father funny like him, or is your father more serious? So you can have this discussion around the video. And you can see the video is over 3 minutes long, which is not very long. It can be used in the classroom, I think. Next one, Rebecca. Another video, now on a more serious note. I love Trevor Noah. I don't know if you like him. I love him. I find I think he's funny, sarcastic. I love his sense of humor. I love him. So, and there is again this video on Facebook, The Daily Show, that it used to be his TV show, right? And he shares his opinion in the backstage about the passing of the Queen, and why he shares a critical opinion on why should everyone mourn the Queen. It's a controversial video, I admit, but he's very respectful. He is respectful. But perhaps, for instance, this one, he challenges the normalization of the mourning of the Queen passing early September last year. So you might want to ask whether your students agree or disagree with his opinions, his arguments, and there are reasons for that. Your students' reasons for agreeing or for disagreeing, because in the video, I will ask Rebecca to play the first 30 seconds. He shares some of his personal opinions.
Sorry, did you want to finish that thought, or should I start playing?
No, go on, please, Rebecca. No.
Okay, great.
Yes, any part of the video, any part. We can't hear.
Into how people see the world around them, you know, because obviously the Queen passed away at the age of 96. She's had a good run. She did 96. Like, you've lived your best life. My grand passed away at 96. It was the same thing. As a family, obviously you're sad to let somebody go, but it's 96. You celebrate that the person's lived the life. They've lived it fully, you know. And what was fascinating to me was seeing how angry people were that not everybody had the same opinion of the Queen, and how much they wanted other people to have that.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you. Yeah. You have to watch the rest of the video, guys. So, for instance, and you can see some comments. Sorry, Rebecca, can you go back to that page just to show the comments? You can see Bonita's comment and Vincent comment, right? You can also ask students to react to the comments, to read and see if they agree or disagree with the comments. You can go back, Rebecca. Okay. There was one, for instance, well said, Oxy, the monarchy for many people represents oppression and inequality. People should be able to criticize the institution. It doesn't mean they are unsympathetic about the fact that as an individual has died. So maybe you can use some quotes and ask students to debate whether they agree or disagree. So this could be a great task where students will critically analyze and share their opinions and share their arguments. Thank you, Rebecca. To the next one. Right. And some ideas on developing writing and speaking skills. You might ask students to identify, as I've mentioned before, and correct mistakes, or maybe how can we change that into a more formal register, or how would you say that in a different context? I don't like calling mistakes, but anyway, you got what I meant, yeah. Writing social media comments. Maybe you might want to ask your students to write a comment on a post even if they don't post it for real, but they can draft the comment, and you can go and check to see if the comment that your student wrote is respectful, it uses the language that you expect your students to use, how you can reformulate what they wrote. So this is another writing activity that is very real life, right? You can write text messages. You can ask the students to write text messages to practice informal writing style. And in terms of speaking, give presentations or explain how to perform some tasks, how to clean something, or how to create an Excel spreadsheet or things like that. You can also propose discussions on social occasions, problems, and ask students to offer solutions. Next one, Rebecca. Yeah. Okay, that's another social media post. As I told you, I love social media. I use social media a lot. And this was from the BBC, right? So the BBC Instagram page. So this was the post. What you can do is to encourage your students, to elicit from them, what do you think? You can ask them, what do you think the post is about? We have the picture, we have a bit of the tag, the title, and you can hide the other part, and elicit from them. Try to get them interested, curious about the. I think this pictures is great. So, for example, if you were my student, I would do that. Okay. Everybody, hello. So what do you think is the title is about? Daytime nap, blah 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 blah. What do you think? Can you complete this title? What do you think the headline is about? Daytime, okay, save lives. Yeah, is here to stay. Don't cheat, okay? Don't cheat. Don't go to BBC Instagram page and cheat, okay? Daytime nap benefits, improve. Okay, so all positive. You think it's about something positive. Okay, great. Next one, Rebecca. Yes, yes. Daytime nap, good for the brain, study finds, okay? And I love these types of posts because there's a nice picture, a headline, and a short text that goes along, right? And I think it's great because perhaps you don't want to read, you don't have time to read the whole article. So just that summary is makes you smarter. Is great to engage your students, to have them discuss what the text is about, the pros of daytime nap. Do they agree? Are they nappers or not? So you can have this interaction with your students. Yes, next one, please. Becca. Okay, and if we have time, yeah, we have a bit of time. So these are some ideas to implement task-based learning and authentic materials. Next one, Becca. I just need to rush a little bit. Everyone, I'm sorry. So how do they overlap? The TBL, the task-based learning, emphasizes learning through authentic tasks, right? So it's perfect to use authentic materials. And one of its principles is to engage students in real world activities. So how can we use authentic materials with this approach? Yeah. Make sure that the materials provide meaningful context for tasks and language use in authentic situations. And I'm going to give you an example. Next one, Rebecca. All right, so I don't have the material here, but let's say that you use a travel brochure, okay? A travel brochure, physical one, if it's face-to-face, or an online one. And the task is to plan a dream vacation, dream holiday. So you can send the travel brochure to them. The task is to plan this vacation, perhaps with using their classmates in pair work or group work. So they have to make decisions about the destinations, accommodations, budget, what to do there, any kind of restrictions. So in that way, they will work. They will work together. They will have to do some research. Perhaps if there is no problem with using Google in your school, in your institution, or in your country, let them use Google to find some information, and then they can present their vacation plan to the class. And perhaps you can ask, after everybody's presentation, you can ask them, which presentation do you think, which vacation do you think is the most interesting one, or the most affordable one, or yeah, so you can have this idea. Next one. And dogma teaching and authentic materials. I don't know if we pronounce dogma. I'm not sure, guys. So I'm sorry for that. Next one, Rebecca. So dogma teaching focuses on conversation-driven, right? Emergent language learning. It also prioritizes authentic communication over materials. So it's materials light. And how can we, even though it's materials light, I think we can still use some authentic materials, and we can still focus on conversation. So they stimulate natural language production and fluency. And I'm going to give you an example in the next page. Okay, so let's say you choose a news article, okay, of a current affair that's happening, and the task would be, I'm sorry for that. The task would be to debate current events, okay? So you can have the students read the news article. I'm so sorry for that. And discussing different perspectives and possible solutions, okay? So they have to express their opinions, provide arguments, and respond to their classmates' point of views respectively. That's very important, right? Even if they disagree, they have to be respectful. They have to acknowledge and validate other people's opinions. So next one, Rebecca. And the last one, intercultural teaching. Next one. So intercultural teaching aims at developing intercultural competence and understanding. So understanding across cultures, across not only countries, but different perspectives, explores cultural perspectives through authentic materials. And how can we use authentic materials for that purpose? So we can expose students to different diverse cultural contexts and encourage reflection and analysis of different cultures. So let me give you an example. I'm just looking at the time, guys, I'm sorry. So for instance, you can choose a cultural video clip of choose different countries. For example, how do celebrate, for instance, how do they celebrate Mother's Day, or how do they celebrate Christmas? If it's a Muslim country, how do they celebrate Eid, right? Eid, I think. So you can have students compare those two cultures or three cultures, right? So students watch a video clip of a cultural tradition, and as a task, you can ask them to compare cultural practice with their own culture, discussing similarities and differences. So by doing that, students will analyze the importance of cultural practice, the impact on society and challenges as well. And they can reflect on their own cultural values and develop intercultural understanding. And I think that was my last one. Yes.
It would seem that is the last one.
Yes, the last one, yes. Thank you.
You did it right on time.
Do we have time for questions, Rebecca? I don't know.
Yeah, I think if anybody has to drop out, because it is 3 o'clock here in Toronto, so if you have another commitment, we totally understand. But if you are willing to stay for an extra 2 to 5 minutes, we can do some questions with Cecilia. So I think you were able to address most of the questions that came up in the chat during your talk. I'll invite anybody to add further questions in the chat right now. Maybe Cecilia, while we're waiting for some questions, you could answer this one. I know you gave a lot of different media options that can be used as authentic materials, but is there any platform or links or one space that you go to frequently in order to pull some authentic content and use that in the classroom?
In order to? Can you repeat? In order to post?
Yeah, sorry, a platform or a link that you frequently use for grabbing authentic material.
Lots. I like BBC. Can it be social media or
Absolutely.
Not? Yeah. So I like the BBC News Instagram handle. I think it's very it's great. I like a YouTube channel called 60 Seconds Doc. They are short videos, authentic videos on different themes. Very very interesting videos. What else? Fluent Eyes has also video-based lesson plans, and all the lesson plans are based on authentic videos. What else? Oh, so many. I can provide a list of links, maybe to the attendees.
That would be fantastic. I feel like the group would really enjoy that as a takeaway from today's session.
Yeah, absolutely.
So we do have one question from Ella.
Yeah,
Can we use authentic materials in a mixed ability class? And how do you make it accessible to all students? What a great question.
Yeah, great question. Great question, Ella. Yes, I think we can. In this case, I would differentiate the tasks. So asking if these mixed, you said mixed abilities, right? Mixed abilities, yeah. So that would be a bit more time consuming, but I think it would be great because it would accommodate different levels of students. So yeah, you can use the same video, but for example, one group of students, the low level students can just spot some words. You can ask students to spot some words only, words that they know, or verbs in the past, or adjectives, for example. And the middle level students, perhaps you could ask them comprehension questions, very straightforward questions: what, when, why. And perhaps for the more able students, you can have more questions where they would provide their arguments, asking for an opinion. How would you react to that? Do you think that the character is right or why not? What would you do in this situation? So I think definitely we can address different levels with the same material. Yes, I hope I answered you.
That's a great answer, Cecilia. Also, our webinar last month, Ella, was on dealing with differentiation. So I invite you to check that out because it was a wonderful webinar with Laura McWilliams. We have another question from Laura Valentina.
Yeah.
She said, in the case of using controversial authentic materials with older teens and adults, how do you deal with ambiguity tolerance?
Right. I think it's important to see if the material is suitable for all students in terms of language, in terms of familiarity. So it's a choice that you have to make, but perhaps with Am I right to assume you're talking about the level of maturity, Laura? I think it's the level of maturity and understanding of certain topics, right? I would be a bit, cautious about choosing these topics with students, especially avoiding topics related to sex and related to I don't know, some topics that are not really suitable for teen students, and also depending on where they're from. For instance, I have many students from Saudi Arabia, from Kuwait, and I have to be very mindful with these students. So, but if you think the material and the language is fine, I would provide the context. I would explain the context to really clarify any questions that they might have. Yeah. Or ask students to provide the context. Ask the older students, the adult students, to provide the context if they can explain, what's in between the lines, right?
Wonderful, Cecilia. Thank you so much. I had a couple questions here about a certificate of attendance. So there will be a follow-up email to everyone. So thank you so much for participating. We will be in touch with you for you to claim your certificate. We'd love to send you a little takeaway from this this month's webinar, and maybe Cecilia can share with us a few links that you guys can use to apply in the classroom.
Definitely.
And once again, thank you so much to everyone for taking their time out of their day to join us from all over the world. Thank you, Cecilia, for such an interesting conversation and so many insights and resources that are very practical. And we'll see everyone hopefully next month for our professional development series. Thank you again from Everybody Loves Languages. Please follow us on LinkedIn. Check out our social media, and have a wonderful afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much.
Thank you, everybody. Have a wonderful day. Bye-bye.
Take care.